What if the way we design buildings can help us beat the heat? A few simple changes in our neighborhoods and houses can make a big difference when it comes to super hot weather, and something called the urban heat island, or UHI effect. Ever notice how cities can be way hotter than the areas around them? That's the urban heat island, UHI effect at work. Cities get extra hot because of things like roofs, walls, and roads soaking up the sun's heat. Cars and air conditioners add to the warmth, and without enough trees and plants, it gets even hotter. Climate change is also making this UHI effect even more intense in many cities. Now, cities don't all have the same heat intensity, and some parts in the same city can be hotter than others. If a neighborhood doesn't have many parks, trees, or other cooling elements, it can get way hotter than other places in the same city. What do you think are some of the impacts that the UHI effect can have on your community? Do you think the neighborhood where you live or go to school is an urban heat island? Do you think urban heat islands get more or less intense during a heat wave? Have you ever tried focusing in a really hot classroom? It's tough. Well, there's a reason for that, and here's how science backs that up. According to the World Health Organization, when it's super hot, thinking, working, and learning become tricky. Extreme heat can even lead to illness and death. Plus, heat isn't great for air quality and can cause issues for health services and infrastructure. So staying cool isn't just about comfort. It's like a superpower for our well-being. When the sun heats up the outside of a building, some of that heat sneaks inside. We call this solar heat gain. When it's hot, more folks crank up their air conditioners at the same time, creating a big demand for electricity. This can increase pollution from power plants, and it might even overload the power system, leading to brownouts or power outages. So how do we handle the heat in our neighborhoods? Well, there are a lot of strategies, but right now let's talk about one cool idea: designing buildings that reflect sunlight away instead of soaking it in. The sun is the main source of energy for our planet. Sunlight reaches the Earth in 3 ways: UV, visible, and infrared rays. When things like roofs or walls absorb these rays, they get super warm and make the air around them hot too. The radiative properties of roofs and walls affect how they take in the sun's energy and can make a big difference in how hot a building gets. We measure a material's radiative properties on a scale from 0 to 1, with 1 being the coolest. It's like giving each material a score to see how cool it stays in the sun. The higher the score, the cooler it is. Let's talk about the first property, called solar reflectance. This radiative property is the amount of sunlight that bounces off a surface. It is the opposite of solar absorptance, which is the amount of sunlight a surface soaks up. Have you ever touched the outside of a dark car and then a light one on a sunny day? The light car probably feels cooler because it's reflecting more sunlight. Next is thermal emittance. This means how good a material is at letting go of heat it's already absorbed. You've probably felt thermal emittance and maybe even used it to warm up on a cool day. Ever wonder why the side of you facing a fire or hot object gets warm while your back is still cool? That's the thermal emittance from the fire or hot object warming your front side up. Want to get your back warm too? Just turn around. How do you think a building's radiative properties can affect the safety and comfort of occupants during hot times? What about AC use? Do you think the color of a surface can affect its radiative properties? Imagine if roofs and walls could bounce away more sunlight than usual. We call these cool surfaces. Some materials naturally have the power to reflect more sunlight, like those with white or lighter colors. Imagine throwing on a light t-shirt compared to a dark one on a hot day. Which one makes you feel hotter? Darker materials can have cooling powers too, if they're made with special pigments that reflect infrared light. Cool roofs and walls do something awesome. They make outdoor and indoor temperatures cooler. They act like a shield against the sun's heat, helping buildings stay safer and more comfortable. This isn't just good for the planet, it's also a money saver because we use less energy to cool our spaces. Communities have some tricks up their sleeves to save energy and beat the city heat. In California, they're all about cool roofs. They're required on most types of buildings to keep things chill. And guess what? Other states and cities are in on the cool surfaces action too. It's not just plain roofs and walls that can make a difference. Across the country, artists are creating murals using reflective paints to help their communities stay cool, in more ways than one. What an awesome way for art and science to work together. Scientists predict that cities will continue to get even hotter because of climate change, and their heat islands will make it worse. That's why it's super important to think about heat when we design new buildings and neighborhoods. Just look around your own community. What cool ideas can you think of to beat the heat?